What in the world's happening with King County real estate? Oh, let's check it out. You're looking at supply and demand last 2 years in King County. Green is the supply, new listings. Blue is the demand, number of homes that went under contract. And every month for the last 2 years. So let's compare January to January to January and see what you see. So here you've got January 2024, 2,200 homes came to market. January of last year, 28, almost 2,900 homes came to market. And then this year, what? 30, almost 3,200 homes. So steadily increasing available inventory. This is what we've been seeing, what we saw last year. If I go further out and you see this trend is for more inventory. That is a function, in my view, of the collapse in 2024 of people selling. So interest rates tripled. People stopped selling because who's moving from one house to another where you just get the opportunity to pay twice as much per month? Nobody, unless they have to. So interest rates have stabilized around six-ish in that neighborhood, which it looks like they're going to be at for a while. No big reason to think they're not going to be in this neighborhood for a while, despite the posturing. And people eventually need to sell. This is slowly unwinding. So this is our third year since interest rates jumped, and people need to move. People need to sell. They're used to the prices. It's the increase in inventory last year suppressed price growth, which was the entire point of raising interest rates, was to slow price growth. That's done its job. Now you get more inventory, and buyers not keeping up. Buyers have increased slightly year over year, but not the degree the inventory has. So what does this mean? It means if you're buying, you should have plenty to choose from and not a ton of competition. That's what increased inventory and it's what increased supply and slow demand mean. Plenty to choose from. And in any market where there's more inventory than demand, prices are going to be suppressed or go down. So you've got to be careful when you're pricing your home. We're putting homes under contract all the time because we price them right. But if you price them right, you can find a buyer. You're not in a buyer's market yet. You're probably in a balanced market, the lower end of a balanced market, meaning price it right, you'll get it sold. Price it wrong, and you're going to get punished. That's the coaching I have for listings. You've got to look to see what the market will bear. Now, every situation is different. Every house is different, block, neighborhood. So you can get a trend off of this information, which is it's going to become harder and harder to sell as the spring approaches. Whatever madness you have in your mind about it's better to sell in the spring, madness. Stop that. Get it to market before May. By all means, get it to market in February or March. Do not wait for May or June to get this to market. You're going to wind up in one of these huge gap situations where you're going to have a ton of competition. Don't wait. And if you do wait, you might want to wait till the end of the summer when the competition goes down and the buyers stay the same. And if you're buying, hey, you got a good looking spring ahead of you. You should be able to find what you're looking for this spring. Should be plenty to choose from between now and June. All right. If you got questions about your situation or anything you need, let me know. Aaron Hendon with Christine & Company at EXP. Party on, Wayne. Hey, what in the world's happening with Kitsap County real estate? Woohoo! Check it out. All right. Now, this is unique, different than King County. Normally, we find that the smaller counties follow the 900-pound gorilla of King County. That's not the case with Kitsap County this January. All right, so you're looking at supply and demand for the last 2 years. Green is the supply, new listings. Blue is the demand, homes under contract. All right, what you see here is a decrease year over year in number of listings. That's the opposite. So you've got listings going down, available inventory going down in Kitsap County, and a huge spike in demand. So way closer. This gap between the number of new listings and the number that went under contract is tiny. This is bidding war territory. This is you put it on the market, it sells right away. Kitsap has something of an inventory issue with not a demand, and a demand is solid in Kitsap. So you got lack of inventory, strong demand, higher prices, harder to buy, easier to sell. Now, what's predictable is that February will have more listings than January. That's reliable almost always. Question is how much more listings, how many more listings? Were there just people waiting in January to come to market? My suspicion is it's going to be an increase in inventory, certainly over January. Now, last year, you got a decrease in inventory in February, but that's really rare. And I would suspect that this lack of inventory isn't the beginning of some trend of a downward nature. I think you're going to wind up a bounce back in Kitsap. We'll see what happens, but I don't think there's no mechanical reason for there to be a lack of inventory in Kitsap. So if you're going to list, be really careful about where the timing in your neighborhood and the competition of houses like yours. I keep an eye on it. My suspicion is it's going to go up in February. Now, we shall see. If you're buying, overall, the spring is going to be easier time to buy. Spring is always an easier time to buy. I don't know why people want to sell in the spring, but there you go. Everyone does. And so there'll be plenty of inventory to choose from with a moderate increase in buyers. So keep looking for what you want. I would move quickly just in case I'm wrong about this and there isn't a glut of inventory coming. If you see something you like, jump on it. If you're selling, get it to market sooner rather than later and price it right. You got questions about your situation? Let me know. That's what I'm here for. Aaron Hendon with Christine and Company at EXP. Have fun. What in the world is happening with Pierce County real estate? Woo, doggy. Check it out. What we got here is a little mini King County. Not that unusual. Pierce usually follows King County, or if you're biased the other way, you could say King County follows Pierce, but it's frankly not true. You've got an increase in inventory year over year. Green is the inventory, new listings that came to market. So January of 24 was 927. January of 2025 was 1169. And then this last month was 1200. So increasing in January year over year. Really typical for our area. Not a huge increase in buyers. You still have a really nice gap between buyers, available inventory, and number of homes that went under contract. Meaning, if you're buying, it should get easier and easier for you. What's predictable, although last year was a dip in inventory in February, it's rare that happens. February predictably will be a higher number, more homes coming to market in February. And not a big increase in buyers. So it's going to get easier to buy as we get through till June. More and more to choose from. If you're listing, you got to be careful. I would make sure that you're pricing it based on your neighborhood, your house, what actual transactions have happened around you. And know the longer you wait, the harder it gets to sell. Selling into more inventory is not a great idea. And that is predictably what's going to happen between January, February, March, April, May. You're going to wind up more and more inventory coming to market. So sooner is better than later in general, but your house is unique. So you want to get some specific coaching about what to do about your place. Let me know. Happy to help with that. If you're buying, you got blue skies in front of you, green grass, blue skies. Let's go. Let me know what you're looking for, where, and let's see what we can do. Should be plenty to choose from. You got questions about your circumstances? That's what I'm here for. Aaron Hendon with Christine and Company over at EXP. Party on, Wayne. Hey, what in the world is happening with Snohomish County real estate? Let's go. Check it out. Here we go. So you're looking at supply and demand last 2 years. Supply, green. New listings came to market. Demand, blue, number of homes that went under contract. And you can see increase in inventory between January last year and January this year, just a little teeny increase, bigger increase compared to 2024. You could see last February we had a little dip in a couple of the counties. I don't think that's going to be the case now. I think the indication is that there is a lot of pent up inventory unwinding from the um, interest rate increase of 3 years ago. So that is unwinding now. We're getting back to more normal levels of inventory, normal levels of activity in our market, which means between now and May or June, you're going to see an increasing number of homes coming to market. You're going to see more and more competition if you're selling and more choices if you're buying. That's predictable, happens at this time of year. It's being borne out. It looks like it's probably going to beat last year, which wouldn't be surprising given last year beat the year before. We're getting back to pre-pandemic activity. People are getting used to 6% interest rates. That's how it is. It's stabilized prices in the market. You don't get as many even when you do get bidding wars now, you don't wind up 150,000 over asking. You wind up 10,000 over asking. So if you're selling, you got to take out of your mind all that stuff from 2022, that ease of selling that's not happening now. You can still get a good price for it, but you're not talking about double-digit increases in value. You're talking about 2-3% increase in value at this point, year over year. And if you're buying, you should have a lot of choices. You should have more and more choices going into the next few months. Lots to choose from, because we don't predict a big increase in demand. There just hasn't been. Demand is fairly steady in our region, and what varies is the inventory. What varies is the number of houses. So should look good going into the spring. If you're buying, you should have a lot of choices. If you're selling, you want to be really strategic about your pricing. Okay, let me know if you have questions about your circumstances. That's what I'm here for. Aaron Hendon with Christine Company, DXP. Party on, Wayne. Hey, what in the world's happening with Vashon Real Estate? Well, let's looky. All right, this is the last 2 years, supply and demand, my favorite kind of graph. Green is the supply, number of new listings. Blue is demand, homes that came off the market. All right, what do we see? Well, Vashon's weird. Okay, if you watch the King County update, you know that there's a massive increase in inventory year over year. That's not the case here. Inventory in January was 11. Is this 11? Yeah, 11 2 years ago. 12 last year, and 13, 12 this year. So same, little bit decrease in demand compared to last year, but not a ton. So what we don't see is this massive influx in, we see more inventory than December. That's really typical. What's predictable here is we're going to continue to see increases in inventory as we get through the spring. This was March of last year, huge jump over February. The previous February had a much bigger February, so the jump in March wasn't as big. May went down a little bit 2 years ago, kept steadily climbing in 2025. My guess is that we see something of a bumpy increase in inventory between now and the spring, really typical. Sellers have in their mind selling in the spring is better. Fine. Okay. No evidence for that, but go ahead, get your confirmation bias on. And making it easier to buy. So if you're looking to buy on Vashon, you will get more and more opportunities as we move toward the summer. Be more and more inventory. And you can see demand is inconsistent. Doesn't go up a ton. You get some more buyers in the spring, right? Because there's more inventory for them to choose from, and maybe they find the right house. But a house excuse me, houses need to be priced just right on Vashon. So if you're selling on Vashon, look, we just sold a house in 3 days over asking because we priced it right. We marketed it right too. I mean, the stage is beautiful, but you got to price it right on Vashon. You got to get it right. You cannot expect to price it high and step down. It's going to take you far too long. There's too much competition too many other houses, especially at this time of year when there's going to be predictably more and more houses coming on. You want to play that game in October when you know there's less and less inventory coming? Fine. Don't do that now. Price it right to begin with. Price it to sell. Don't get greedy. You can do it. If you need help, that's what I'm here for. And if you're buying, no, you've got more and more to choose from between now and say June. There'll be the peak in inventory sometime around May or June. That's predictable. So keep your eye on what's available. Get ready to move when you see it. If it's priced right, it could go really quickly. And every situation is unique. So you really want to examine that with a seasoned agent. Hello, seasoned agent right here. Let me know what questions you've got. Here to help you with that. Aaron Hendon with Christine and Company over at EXP. Party on, Wayne.